Friday. It's Friday. It's Friday. Is there a Friday song besides that one Friday song? Gotta get up, gotta get ready for the weekend. I'm so sorry that I even know any words to that song. I do apologize, Rebecca Black, and everybody else listening. Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. Give me a second to pull out right here onto the main road. I just dropped off the kids. Today is going to be a good one. A real good one. He always says that. Good morning, Nate Griffin. How you doing, sir? Today's going to be a good one. Tag a friend. Tag a friend. Today's going to be a real good one. Why is it going to be a real good one? I'll tell you in just a little bit. We'll start getting people in here. You know what you got to do. Letty, Nate, you know what you got to do. You got to hit the like. You got to say morning, y'all. And whatever else. I mean, anything I'll appreciate. Tag a friend. Anybody you know who needs some real estate help. Anybody who has questions. Anybody who just needs a little pep talk today. Because today's going to be a little different. Morning, y'all. What's up, Jandy? How you doing? Get as many people in here as possible, and then we're going to go ahead and start. I'm heading to, where am I headed to? Heading to get some headphones or gym, dental office. I don't know where I'm going right now. Morning, y'all. Morning, y'all. So today's going to be a little bit different. I'm going to kind of tell a story that I hope answers some questions regarding real estate, but also regarding just life, because that's what I'm here to do, is answer questions, right? And if you've ever watched this at all, ever once, you realize that I like to tell a lot of stories when I give my answers, because I'm a storyteller. I don't know, get it from my dad. I just can't go, yes, I have to tell a story. I have to. I don't know, maybe it's a curse. What's up, Ryan? How you doing, sir? Tag a friend, hit the like button right here, and comment where you're watching from, or hit morning, y'all. It's got to do one of those two. So today we're going to get into something that I think is really important, just because I don't think I really need my glasses. It's like super foggy outside. All right, Barry, watch your ears for a second. Hold on. Glasses. My windows are all... I can't see. He did the froster. Today's really important because I wanted to... The first question above might seem complicated. It might seem like, what? What is he talking about? And I'll tell you why I have that question. I'll get to that in a second. So yesterday was my... What's up, Araceli? What's up, Sandra? Yesterday was my 10-year anniversary of knowing my wife, okay? August 29th, 2009, I met my wife. And I'll talk a little bit about that, but I want to talk about right before that. August 28th, 2009, and all before that, how my life was and where it was going and what I thought was happening. Because before I met my wife, I was a lot of things. And a lot of it wasn't real. It was me pretending to be cooler than I was. It was me working at a job where my job was to act cooler than I actually was, to act more successful than I actually was, to act happier than I was, to act like I got my shit together, but really I didn't. I worked at a job where I had to pretend that everything was great and there's money in the bank and I knew what I was doing and I had it all figured out, but I didn't know shit. I was living in my parents' house in my old room on a twin-size bed because I had bought a house, but I was so upside down on it. I was so in over my head. And remind you, I bought a house when it was the absolute worst time to probably buy a house for someone that didn't have good credit, because someone like me who shouldn't have got approved for a home loan did. I bought a house. It was in Annaville, right off Mackenzie, if you're familiar with the area. Bought a house, beautiful 3-bedroom, 2-bath, the dining room. Back then in 2000, I'm going to tell you all the numbers so you understand. Back then in 2008 or 7, it was about $200,000 back then. I was like 23 or 24. I think I made, and I'm just being very honest with numbers, I think I maybe cleared maybe like 32,000. That was like working my ass off. Base pay was 28,000 is what I made. I'm just telling you the truth. And so I didn't have any extra money. I had school loans that were in default because I dropped out of college. I didn't have any money in the bank. I didn't have any savings accounts. I didn't have anything. So when I bought that house, and it was in Annaville, gas was $4 a gallon. So at the time, I couldn't even afford to put gas in my car to drive out to the house, okay? So think about this. I am living in my parents' house in my old room on a twin-size bed, sleeping on that, going out during the week, having fun, going to work. All the while, I have a house in Annaville that's literally empty. There's like nothing in it. This seems weird, right? There's nothing in this house. my sister, me, and another buddy of ours were all living there. My buddy was essentially the one keeping me afloat because he was our, quote, roommate, because I barely had money to pay the rent. Pay the mortgage, and his little portion that he was paying was helping me out. So this empty house in Annabelle, no one's living in. I'm living on a twin-size bed in my old room at my house. My car, at the time, the transmission went out. I had no car. It's in the shop. I had a house. I wasn't living in it. And that was it. So the reason I'm bringing this up is because August 28th, 2009 was the day before I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I really didn't. I didn't know where my life was going. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't know if I wanted to go back to school. I didn't know if I wanted to quit my job. I didn't know if I was going to foreclose on my home. I really thought, oh, shit's just going to foreclose. Like, if I'm not going to pay the bills, like, I don't know what to do. And it seemed like everyone around me was foreclosing their homes. Every single person that I knew was getting foreclosed on here in town, in Corpus. Remind you, this is like 2008, 2009. And so, again, the worst time if you had bad credit to buy a home because they were just approving anyone when they shouldn't have been approving these people, including myself. And I didn't know what to do other than, well, I guess I'll kind of just ride this out to see what happens. It wasn't until August 29th, 2009, if you're keeping up with the story, when I met my wife. And then from that point on, we started dating, we fell in love. I was obsessed with her, and we just, we were obsessed with each other. She moved in like a week or two later. Here's the funny part. Remember I was telling you I was sleeping on the twin-size bed? So when I met her, she was kind of confused with the whole situation, my situation. She was very confused. She's like, why? You say you have a house, you say you have a car, but I haven't seen either. And here's this room that is in your parents' house. Okay. I don't know what was wrong with her, but she gave me a chance, right? It wasn't until I was like, well, yeah, I got this house out in Annabelle. She's like, well, I actually, used to live out there. Like, I'm familiar. Why don't we just go live out there in your house that you have? I was like, okay. She had a car, so I was like, cool. Let's do it. This sounds really weird, right? I was like, cool. Let's do it. So, yeah, with her Altima back then, we moved out there, moved all her stuff in, and she moved in. And I moved back into that house that I never lived in. I never really stayed there. I stayed there every once in a while. I couldn't afford to drive out there. Didn't have a car to drive out there. So she moved in, and we were there for a while, and then we ended up selling that house. We got really lucky. We were able to sell it. Then we moved into an apartment, and then we moved out back to my parents' house. We got engaged, and then we actually, I don't know, the timeline's kind of messed up here. I went back and forth to apartments, and I was just waiting. Fast forward 2010-ish, and we get engaged, and we get our own apartment, and we also get pregnant. I'm like, oh shit. So here's a crazy story. So we got pregnant. I'm sorry, back up. Again, the whole point of what I'm trying to tell you is that there's going to be times in your life you're going to feel like things won't change, or they can't change, and they're the absolute worst, and there's nothing good for me that's ahead. And anything you can imagine is just so far-fetched where you're thinking, like, that's so fucking crazy. Why would that ever happen to me? Why would I ever get that? Or why would I ever do that? Or how would I ever have the ability to do that, right? That's the way I always felt. Like, man, there's just things I wanted. There's these things I wanted to do, but I didn't know how to do it. I didn't know who to ask how to do it. And I didn't know if it was even possible. I thought it was just like dreams, right? So when this is crazy, it's funny how you look back at things, you're like, well, it's crazy. So when I asked my wife to marry me, I barely had money, like nothing. And like, I was like, I know I gotta get a ring. I know I gotta get it. We just so happened to take I don't know how we even got involved, but we went to Vegas for this one trip, and it was like on pennies we went. And I just so happened to win a pretty good chunk of money playing craps. This is funny. I won a few thousands of dollars playing craps. And I knew with that money, even though there's all these other things going on, I knew I want to buy a ring for this girl. I'm going to buy a ring for this girl, and we're going to get married. I don't know how. I don't know how. I don't know how it's going to work out. I don't know how we're going to have a wedding. I don't know anything. I don't even have a place. And we were living with my parents. I was living with my parents when we got engaged, which is so weird to think, wow, she still said yes. And we got engaged October 16th, 2010. And this is the crazy part, and I told someone this story yesterday. We got engaged October 16th, 2010. And we had planned to get married the following year in September. It was going to be 9, 10, 11. I was trying to make it cute. I was like, yeah, we get married September 10th, 2011. It's 9, 10, 11. That's cool, right? That's an easy date to remember. Me being a pendejo, I was like, oh, it'll be easy for me to remember one anniversary, because you always hear guys go, I don't remember my anniversary. I remember my anniversary. So, October 16, 2010, we get engaged, and it wasn't until February, like right after Christmas, where we found out we were pregnant. Again, still living in my parents' house, in my old room. Me and my fiance, my wife, living in my old room. The same room with that twin-sized bed we upgraded to a queen. Living in that room, she walks in and she tells me I'm pregnant. I'm trying to wrap my head around getting married, and then she's telling me we're pregnant. I was like, fuck. But not in a bad way. It was just a very overwhelming feeling, trying to think like, oh, so we're getting married and having a baby. Okay. So we ended up moving the wedding up to June. So instead of September, we moved it up to June. So we got married in June, and then get this, October 16th, 2011, exactly a year later from the day I asked her to marry me, we have a baby. We have our little girl at 11:30ish at night at Spawn South, right here in Corpus. And I told the nurses, I'm like, man, if you can get that baby out, you know, the next hour, that'd be a pretty cool story to tell, because it's exactly a year later. And they were just like, oh, are you serious? And it was like, no pressure. It still happened the way it was supposed to. And she came out and everything was good. We got our own place. We got an apartment, and I'll wrap up the story soon. So we got our own place. We got our own apartment. When we had a little girl, I was like, I'm going to go back to school. I only got like 3 or 4 classes left. I got to graduate. I got to get my bachelor's. I got to let them know, look, you can't just give up. You got to finish it. I did it. And if I don't do it, then it's going to be on me. But like, well, you didn't do it. You didn't go back. You only had 4 classes left. So I did it. I finished. After I finished, I knew I wanted to do another job. I knew what to do something else. I knew that if I had a family, I had to figure out a way to support them the way I always dreamed I wanted a family to be, not the way, it was going. So we both, finished up school, and both at the same time, my cousin was like, why don't you get your real estate license? And I was like, maybe, but I've never thought about that. He's like, you should do it. So I started studying. I started working to get my license, and at the same time I was working to get my license, mind you, if I didn't add this into the story earlier, my credit fucking sucked. It was the worst of the worst. Like, it was like a feeling that I got so used to whenever you go apply for a credit card, and they would tell you like, yeah, it says they're gonna go ahead and they'll be mailing you the reasons why. I fucking knew why, because I had really shitty credit, and I didn't pay a lot of people back when I was like really young, and I was in my early 20s. I had a lot of credit cards, and I just didn't pay them because I couldn't. And I knew whenever I applied for new credit cards, they're going to tell me no. So being that as it was, and learning, to get my real estate license, going through those classes, I'm like, dude, if I'm going to start helping, this is an honest thought. I said, if I'm going to help people buy a home, I need to help myself buy a home. I need to, and there's a buddy of mine, Daniel, he has an old saying, it's like, don't talk about it, be about it. I need to be about it. Like, I need to figure this shit out for myself first. How am I going to help anyone else that could be going through what I'm going through if I can't do it? What am I going to tell them? Like, I don't know. I need to get myself out of this hole first. So slowly and little by little, together we did that, and we built something out of that. And we tried to get a home loan. They said nope. We tried to get a home loan. They said nope. Well, they didn't say just nope. They kind of told me what I needed to do a little bit. Figured it out. Got approved. We got our first home. A little after we moved into our first home is when I finished my classes and I got my license. And, the rest is just, as they say. So the point of this whole video and the point of this whole story I'm telling you is that I meet people every single day that are going through shit, that are stressed out, that think this is it, the way it is, the way it is. Before I met my wife, before August 29th, 2009, I didn't know what the fuck was going on. I was just confused. And I had no idea how my life would turn out. I just knew I didn't want it to be the way it was. So if you feel like that, or if you know someone who's negative and they want these things, but they're negative about it, you need to remind them that things, no matter what, the world will keep fucking moving. The world will keep going on. No matter if you're mad or upset or stressed or just whatever it is, the sun will keep coming up. The sun will keep going down. There's always going to be shit that's going to bother you. But you just got to keep going. And shit can change. Because it does change. It's just inevitable. It's going to change. So don't feel like whatever position you're in right now, that's the way it's always going to be. Now, I know that when I do these, I always try to relate it to real estate. Today was just, that happened to be the example that I went through. And how real estate kind of changed my life quite a bit. And for most people, when you buy a home, and you put for most people, when you buy a home and you put yourself in that position to be able to buy a home, you clear a lot of other shit up. You clear a lot of other bills, a lot of other problems, because you're like, okay, I know people that it's taken them years to get a home, because in those years, they really changed their lifestyles. They changed the way they spend money. They changed the way they think about things. They changed so much about themselves internally that on the outside, people are just like, well, how did you just do it? It's like, well, you just got to do it. You just can't think like it's going to be like this forever. You just got to do it. Okay. Does anybody have any real estate questions? Oh, man. So, the end of the story is, it's not over yet. I don't know. Still going. Maybe I'll share that one day. Who's got more? I don't know if I can share any more today. I think that's it. I'm good. I hope you have a happy Friday. If you need anything, let me know. Phone and email will be in the comments. If there's anything at all you have questions about, if anything I said feels like what you're going through, just let me know. Let's talk. Bye, guys.